Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have your TEF Canada exam coming up soon, this video is going to be very essential for writing part because I'm going to share 6 very essential tips which can help you to get a higher score in writing. And in the end, I'm going to share a bonus. So please watch the video till the end. All right. So my first tip is time management. In section A, you have to write about 80 words, which is a fait divers. And section B, which is a letter, you have to write about 200 words. Section B has a higher weightage, so it is advisable to spend more time on section B than section A. So in terms of time split, overall you have 60 minutes to complete your writing part. So on section A, it is advised to spend about 20 minutes and 40 minutes on section B. So in terms of time management, there are 3 essential parts for both section A and B, which is plan, write, and review. So let's talk about section A first. If you're going to spend about 5 minutes to plan what you really want to write and create a story in the mind, then when it comes to writing part, which is the second part, you would be able to write it easily in 10 to 12 minutes. And then for review, which is the third part, you would still have about 3 to 5 minutes, which is more than enough. Similarly, for section B, if you spend about 5 minutes on thinking the arguments that you want to write, then you would be able to write it very well in about 25 minutes, and then you would have about 5 to 10 minutes to review. Now, all these 3 steps are really essential. If you don't plan it well, you won't be able to write an impactful fait divers or letter, and you would probably spend too much time on writing itself, and then you would have very limited or no time to review. Trust me, simple but error-free writing can get you a higher score, and that should be the objective. That's why it is very essential to include all these 3 elements in your time management part. My next tip is to follow a structure. For both section A and section B, if you practice enough before the exam, you would have a structure in mind which you would want to use during the exam. So don't try to tweak it at all, just stick to that structure. And if you want to know more about what structure to be used, I've created a very detailed video on the writing part. I will link it right here, and you can go and watch that video, and it would help you to understand what should be the structure. For instance, for section A, I talk about 3 or 4 paragraph structure, and then in section B, I talk about how to write 3 unique arguments, what should be the structure that we should be using. And other tips like the length of your all 3 arguments should be very similar. It shouldn't be like argument 1 is of 3 lines and then argument second and third is of 5 lines and 6 lines. So that should not be the case. Length of your introduction and conclusion should also be very similar. So if you practice enough and you follow a set structure, you would actually be able to manage it pretty well in the exam. In my video, I've shared my strategies, but I've also shared some examples from my writing. So it would help you to understand better what my structure was, which has helped me to get C1 in writing. So please go and watch that video. My next suggestion is please pay attention to the word limit. In section A, we are supposed to write 80 words. It is advisable to not go beyond 100 words, but if you write 100 to 120, that should work. In section B, we have to write 200 words, but because we have introduction and conclusion also, sometimes it is difficult to write in just 200 words, but it is advisable to not go beyond 250 to 280 words. It was difficult for me also to get to this range, and earlier I used to write about 350 to 400 words, and hence I used to make more mistakes as well, right? So if you follow a structure, then you would know what you really need to write. How should you plan your paragraph? Like you start with one topic statement, you expand it, and then you close it with an example. That's it. You don't need to add any other story, which I used to do earlier. Similarly, you follow the same structure for argument 2 and argument 3, and for introduction and conclusion also you have a set structure, right? So if you follow that structure, I'm sure with some practice you would be able to get to this range of 250 to 280 words, but try not to go beyond this range because you would probably make more mistakes and then it is not going to help. So it is important to just write to the point and follow the structure. Write in simple words, but error free writing is going to get you a higher score. My next suggestion is use of connectors. It is very essential. When you introduce your topic statement, you expand it, then you provide examples. For every statement, before every statement, you should use a connector. Connector would not just make your writing more impactful and strong, it would also help the evaluator to understand your chain of thoughts well. So it works really well. You should learn what kind of connectors you should be using in each of these three arguments that you write in section B, and also for introduction and the conclusion part. So connectors are very essential to make your overall writing very impactful and compact. My next suggestion is to use different tenses, advanced vocabulary, and expressions, because these elements would help you to get a higher score, but only use them if you are comfortable. If you're not comfortable, don't try to force fit them because it would be very evident and you would actually lose points. So, in terms of advanced grammar, people think that if you use subjunctive, you get a higher score. Probably that is true, but you also need to keep in mind that you should use subjunctive only when it is necessary. So, in my writing, there are some places in my letter in section B where I use subjunctive very naturally, but only when there is a need. So, if you go through my examples, you would see that I have used subjunctive in many letters in introduction or probably in conclusion, because I've got used to that kind of writing that I do for those two part of the letter, but you would not find them in every letter. So wherever I feel that there is a need and it's possible to use them, only then I use it, otherwise I don't. My last tip is practice as much as possible. I don't know if you already know, but all the topics in section A and section B, they repeat during the exam. Although there's a wide list of topics that you need to practice, but I would say try and practice as much as possible. And if you are not able to cover all the topics, at least go through the list and then just think about the arguments. Like if you get a topic that students should not be watching TV, and if you don't have time to write a letter before the exam on this topic, then probably just think about three arguments that you would write if you were to write on this topic, right? So I would say just go through the entire list. I'm going to share it in the description down below. I have created a Google Doc wherein you would find list of all the topics for section A and section B. I mean, not all the topics, but all the topics that I was able to find from TEF Canada Facebook group. So you can go through this list and write as much as possible. And as I said, if you don't have time to write on all the topic, just think about the arguments for section B and then for section A for Fed the Where. Just try and think about the story, that if you get a topic, what kind of a story would you like to write in section A? I think that would help you to have some ideas in mind beforehand. And if you get those topics in the exam, it is going to help you to save some time in the first part of time management, which is planning. All right, as I promised, I have one bonus thing to share with you. Some people might have seen my detailed video on writing, and after that, they have reached out to me to ask for more writing examples for both section A and section B. So, I have created a Google Doc wherein I've put all my writing for section A and section B. So, I'm going to share the link in the description down below, and all of you would be able to access it. So, go and see and go through my writing and see if you find it helpful. Let me know in the comment section below if there is anything else, any other question you have related to writing. Probably you would find answers for those in the detailed video that I have already created. But even apart from that, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll be more than happy to create a separate video. All the best and I'll see you very soon. Bye.